Lay down! Fucking use the basement trays! I want your work! I want your work! I'm like mother's.
Hello and welcome, fellow film buffs. I'm Zac, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow cinephile, Hunter Van Alirup.
Yo, what is up, guys? That's it. That's all I need for my intro.
We are the box office losers. Each and every week, we take a deep dive into the film sphere and watch and review any and all films to have ever graced the screen. This week, we talk about Fight Club.
First rule of Fight Club. Don't talk about Fight Club. All right, Zach, time to end the episode.
Well, yeah, we can't talk about this much anymore.
Can't talk about the film. So, thank you guys for listening. It's been 30 seconds. You're welcome.
And please, can we get some sponsors out here?
Hey, Raycon, sponsor this 30-second episode. It'd be great.
A boy needs to eat.
All right, enough with the bit. So, Fight Club is a 1999 American film directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter. Bonham? Don't know. It is based on the 1996 novel of the same name by Chuck Palahniuk. He's got a very weird last name.
Yeah, that's good.
Palahniuk's novel was
that.
optioned by Fox 2000 Pictures producer Laura Ziskin, who hired Jim Uhls to write the film adaptation of it. Fincher was selected because of his enthusiasm for the story, because I think he read the book. And then he developed the script with Uhls and sought screenwriting advice from the cast and others in the film industry. He and the cast compared the film to Rebel Without a Cause from 1955 and The Graduate from 1967, with a theme of conflict between Generation X and the value system of advertising, which we'll get into later with the whole consumer capitalism,
yes.
Blah, blah, blah. So
do you want me to go on?
I'll do the overview. So apparently, the studio executives did not like this film when it came out. They restructured Fincher's intended marketing campaign to try to reduce the anticipated losses of the film, because the whole thing was like, fuck the system, man, fuck you, and the whole twist ending, and back in 1999...
That was the 90s, though. Come on.
You know, back in 1999, a lot of that stuff wasn't gonna fly in theaters, you know what I mean? Like, the basic cookie-cutter films that came out in 99 were easy, like, just like, you know, here's Toy Story, here's fucking Air Bud, like, here's just these films that have no twist endings that are just easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then they give us this masterpiece, or cult classic film, however you want to, you know, choose to ring your hat on.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay. So Fight Club failed to meet the studio's expectations at the box office and received polarized reactions from critics. Because critics were like, anti-disestablishmentarianism is not what we need for our films. Boo! And I don't know how it failed at the box office. This film is fucking phenomenal. But then again, cult classic status is a cult classic status for a reason.
It made $100.9 million.
What was the budget
at the box office? 63.
So it didn't blow anyone out of the water. Because you have to think, you got to double the budget for marketing. So if it had a budget of $60 million, it probably cost them $120 million to do everything. So technically a bomb, but not necessarily. It was cited as one of the most controversial and talked about films of 1999 for obvious reasons, which we'll get into later. The Guardian saw it as an omen for change in American political life and described its visual style as groundbreaking, because the cinematography was insane. And
it was.
Not a lot of films did the gritty, you know, takes on film. Like Zack Snyder wasn't a director at this point.
Like and Zack Schneider, even though he has a lot of duds, he has perfected like this gritty take to a bunch of films now.
Oh, you know, I love Zack Snyder. He's not like one of my favorites, but he's up there.
Yeah.
So, where was I on my totally not stolen from Wikipedia? A little better notes.
Yeah, we definitely don't do that here, guys.
No, we're very original with what we steal from. I mean, what we write. So, the film was later found commercial success with its DVD release, establishing Fight Club as a cult classic and causing media to revisit the film. That's when all of these, like, film buff college students were like, actually, this film was a masterpiece, and it should be praised to a cinematic, and it's basically what we're doing, because we're douchey.
It's like, so, like, I think it was, like, this film, and also, like, like The Breakfast Club was up in every poster on every dorm room in college back then.
I actually have a Fight Club poster not in my room. I gave it to my brother. He likes Fight Club a lot. But like, I had one of the posters, and I was like,
I have the Fight Club rules. Do it?
Yeah, my brother has the rules in his room. It's the one poster he has.
I have the rules, and it's surrounded by my wrestling posters.
I know. It's the one poster he has in his room is the Fight Club rules.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised we actually share film tastes, me and my brother. Me and him are very polar opposites. So on the 10th anniversary of the film's release, the New York Times dubbed it as the defining cult classic movie of like their time, of our time. So I mean, I
can agree with that.
I can see their point, but I don't know. I'm more of a Lebowski fan. I'm more of like a diehard kind of guy.
I love Lebowski.
Yeah, Big Lebowski is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I have it on DVD, so
I have like 4 copies. I have two Blu-rays.
Jesus.
I got a steel book. I think I have it on another DVD somewhere, and then I have it digitally. I love the Big Lebowski, and I even watched the Jesus Rolls, and that's not good. Don't watch it.
I might try to find the VHS copy of this movie and also Big Lebowski just to have them.
Dude, there's a collector's edition of the Big Lebowski that is a bowling ball that you open
I know.
up. I saw it at FYE years ago, and I didn't think to get it, and now I'm regretting it. I was like, I should have got that fucking bowling ball. It was so cool.
I think it might still be there.
I don't remember.
Because I saw it. I think before the pandemic happened.
I don't remember.
And I was looking to get. I was looking to get the Breaking Bad copy that they have there. Okay, but back on topic, guys. This is just us.
Fight Club.
Okay, let's just like set the level straight. We are nerds and we love like shit like that. Now, here are some interesting like tidbits that we kind of did some research on. So, the original casting for Tyler Durden, otherwise as Brad Pitt's character, was going to be Russell Crowe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Like, I like Russell Crowe, don't get me wrong. The Other Guys is one of my favorite films of, I want to say 2016 that came out. Like, I love Russell Crowe.
I think,
but, like,
though...
I don't know if he would have been a good Tyler Durden. I don't think he has that much... had that much charisma.
Well,
I mean, back in 99.
I think if you... and back in 99, if you were to put him in that role now, it would be fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
If you put Old Man Crowe... If you put Old Man Crowe in Tyler Durden's spot right now, it'd be amazing.
I actually think if they rebooted, like if they remade a Fight Club, Russell Crowe would probably play Bob.
Oh my god!
Imagine him walk around with bitch tits, dude.
They would have to give him. They would have to give him the same studio budget they gave Brad Pitt, which was $17.5 million, just for his role.
Just as bitch tits.
No. Well, yeah. Like, if they were to give like Crow like the thing to be bitch tits, it would have to be. They would have to give him a lot of money for that. Now, another interesting tidbit. The unnamed narrator, or Edward Norton's character, was supposed to be, since the studio desired a sexier marquee name, like Matt Damon. Imagine Matt Damon as the unknown narrator.
Well, it's because Matt Damon and Sean Penn were big actors back in '99, while Edward Norton, I think, got off of like maybe 2 films recently, around '99. So yeah, like because Edward Norton, it's kind of like what happened with the whole Die Hard thing, where Bruce Willis as an action star, he's a rom-com guy. We don't need him. And then all of a sudden he's like an action star now because of Die Hard. So this is like, I feel like what Edward Norton like was his launching point for his marquee name.
I think they had like they definitely had him in like Matt Damon in mind because he just got off of Good Will Hunting like 2 years later, which I would love to watch that movie soon. And Sean Penn, like I for some reason I can't I can see Matt Damon, I can't see Sean Penn. If in some alternate world I can see Matt Damon being a good unnamed narrator, because if you look at him back then, he definitely fits like the scrawny, somewhat built dude who can do this.
Yeah, Suburbicon, I think was the name. Was the film that came out recently where he. Yes. It's not that he's an unreliable narrator. It's like just a gritty film for him, I feel like Matt Damon doesn't do enough
I watched it.
films.
I watched Suburbicon. I didn't like it that much.
Really?
It's a good movie, but I just didn't. It just didn't click with me.
Do you think it's trying too hard?
Yes, it definitely was trying too hard. Like, the best thing, like the good thing about that movie is the trailers mislead you. The trailers are very misleading for that movie, and I like that. More like I said, like we definitely do not take stuff off of Wikipedia.
No, we never do.
We definitely. Yeah, no, we don't. Like, I just found this out by calling up Edward Norton. And I asked him about the fight scenes.
Yeah.
He said they were heavily choreographed. The actors were required to go all out to capture that real effect, such as getting the wind knocked out of them.
It's crazy.
And stuff like that. So so some of the fights were probably somewhat real.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably just like, hey, just beat the fuck out of each other, have fun. We're gonna take a coffee break. Just don't break any of the cameras, please.
Yeah, who just fight each other. We'll leave the camera recording go.
just try not to break it. The makeup artist Julie Pierce, who had worked on Fincher's films such as The Game, studied mixed martial arts and watched a bunch of pay-per-view boxing matches to portray the fighters accurately. She designed an extra ear to have cartilage missing, inspired by the boxing match in which Mike Tyson bit off Evander Holyfield's ear.
I can see that being like a good way to study for makeup stuff. Like you look at how like they come out bruised and damaged from fighting, and you go, okay, that's what I need to do to this eye. That's what I need to do to the jaw. That's what I need to do to the ear. You know. So that's a really cool thing to study. I think makeup artists don't get a lot of credit for what they have to actually do.
They don't. She also designed 2 methods creating sweat on cue by spraying it was mineral water over a coat of Vaseline, and using an unadulterated water of an unadulterated amount of water for wet sweat.
Yummy.
Also, So, Meatloaf's character, Bitch Tits. One moment, I gotta sneeze. My mic's gonna be paused. Ah, shit, I unpaused it too early. Meatloaf, who plays Bitch Tits, he wore a 90-pound harness.
Jesus.
God. Oh, man.
He also
wore
yeah, okay.
a 8-inch lifts in his scenes with Norton to be taller than him.
I don't think Edward Norton is that tall.
Let me find out real quick.
He can't be taller.
Definitely not looking at. Definitely not looking at Wikipedia for this. He is 6 foot.
Yeah, exactly. He can't be taller than 6 feet. So how big is Meatloaf then? If he had to wear 8-inch platforms to be taller than him, probably like 5'10" or something, like just barely shorter than him.
Probably about my height, maybe.
I don't think he's that small. No offense, Zach.
Yeah, he is 5'10".
Yeah, you got it.
Look at that. You got them right on the bone.
He's about my height.
Yeah, so he had to wear like 8-inch lifts, which is like it's very interesting to hear this stuff. Like hearing that Russell Crowe was originally casted for Tyler Durden. Meatloaf had to wear a 90-pound fat suit harness.
Yeah, we could have got Matt Damon in this movie. Like, imagine Matt Damon in Fight Club. He was like back in the day, back in 1999. He was like one of those good boys. You know what I mean? He wasn't like in these gritty movies. Like he was basically like Keanu Reeves back in the day. Keanu Reeves was in Bill and Ted, which we'll talk about next week, and then like The Matrix, and then all of a sudden he's thrown into John Wick like 10 years later, and it's like, Jesus Christ, what happened to him?
Now, and imagine if they do because we keep on talking about our recasting of Fight Club. Now they put since freaking Keanu can still go. He's still pretty built. Imagine putting him in Tyler Durden's spot.
I don't think, no offense to Keanu, I don't think he's charismatic enough. Not that doesn't have, like, he is charismatic, but he's charismatic in a different way than Brad Pitt. You need, like, douche charisma rather than just natural charisma, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so
I know I'm
so just
insulting
keep
a whole
it
bunch of
at
people, but like douche charisma. We need, so let's say Russell Crowe's bitch tits. Let's have the narrator be, it doesn't have to be a new actor, but like have like a younger dude. I don't want to keep doing the whole like Hollywood thing, but Taron Egerton would be good because he's a little bit of a gritty guy coming off of a couple films. So I think he would be pretty good.
Yes.
Then again, that's just me casting the same guys from Hollywood. I like him, you know. He'd be pretty good. Tyler Durden. Who would they cast as Tyler Durden? You need somebody like.
I would still keep Brad Pitt.
No, you can't have
Brad Pitt
come back.
No, no, just like keep him the same. Have him come back.
No, that's too on the nose. Then it's not a reboot, it's a sequel.
Then if there's one character I want casted as the same person, I want Jared Leto as Angel Face again.
He can still be Angel Face. He still looks good. Jared Leto can come back.
Fuck, who'd be a good?
I don't know.
Man, who would be a good Tyler Durden?
I mean, again, if Ansel Elgort wasn't an asshole, I would think it would be funny for him to do it. Because if you watch Billionaires Boys Club, Taron and Ansel are the two main characters, and they play good opposites. But that's just me casting people that I know work well together. You want people who are fresh and different. I don't know who could play Tyler. Tyler, it's because you need someone so versatile to play Tyler. At least in my opinion. Who could play Tyler? And maybe we'll think of something as we're going through the plot.
How about Zac Efron?
Ooh, yes, that is perfect. Actually, Zac Efron, because a little bit he kind of looks like a young Brad Pitt. It's just like he's got a good jawline, he's got the muscles, he's got the hair. You know, I think Zac Efron will be pretty good.
And he is built like a fucking tank too. So
Zac Efron looks good. So yeah, Zac Efron could easily be Tyler Durden because he's getting into more serious roles. Because he was doing like these kitschy little like rom-com-y teen movies when he was younger, obviously through 16 Again and High School Musical. And then he went into the hardcore comedy scene when he was like in Neighbors and in Dirty Grandpa. And then he's gotten to more serious roles with Extremely Shocking and then The Greatest Showman. So I think honestly he could get into some deep stuff. So I would love for him to be Tyler Durden. But now I'm rethinking my unreliable narrator choice because Taron and Zac Efron, I don't think they would work together, like visually.
If anything, like you could probably. Well, you could definitely put Tom. I mean, maybe the older brother from Stranger Things, Sam. He might work.
Joe Keery? No,
maybe
that's Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
The dude who's gonna be in the New Mutants film.
I know that. Or fuck.
It needs to be someone bigger than him. Honestly, no offense to him.
Do you remember like the nerdy white kid from We Are the Millers, the one that played the son?
Will Poulter? Yes, yes, he would be great.
That could work.
He'd be great because he can be intimidating at points. There are films that he's been in recently where he's like the bad guy, and he is like a scary motherfucker. If you go on Google and you type in the actor with the eyebrows, he pops up.
Wait, hold on.
Do it. Google the actor with the eyebrows. He pops up. He's the first one if you go to Google Images.
What the fuck? There's also a picture of fucking Sid and an eyebrowless fucking Daniel Radcliffe.
Eventually we'll have cameras and screen sharing for this show because we do a YouTube show as well, same thing. But like, yeah, dude, Will Poulter would be great because he's charming, but he's also like nerdy, so he works for an Edward Norton style character. If they had to remake it in like now times, I hope they don't. This isn't us saying let's do it, but I'd love to see those actors that we just talked about in the movie. Daisy Ridley could play Marla Singer.
Definitely don't look at the Discord chat.
Daisy Ridley. I need Daisy Ridley to actually be in a good movie. Oh no! Daniel Radcliffe looks scary. It looks like
it's so terrifying.
It looks like his face is smaller because he doesn't have eyebrows. He looks like
so
he's gonna
scary.
steal your fucking candy at the fucking like at recess. He's gonna walk up and go candy and steal it and run away like fucking Gollum.
I'm gonna put the picture up in the video. Okay, so for the audio only listeners, I found the picture. I showed Hunter the picture of Daniel Radcliffe without eyebrows.
Hey, definitely go check out the YouTube to see that.
Terrifying.
It is scary.
Yeah, so definitely check out like the video version so you can kind of get some of the jokes that we show that are not. Okay, so
right, let's get on to some plot.
Now
let's
that we're
the meat
done,
and potatoes of this motherfucking film. Let's get into the good.
Yes.
Zacky boy, start us off on the plot, por favor.
The unnamed narrator is an automobile recall specialist who is unfulfilled by his job and possessions and suffers from severe insomnia. He finds catharsis by attending support groups and posing as a sufferer of testicular cancer and other afflictions. Curing his insomnia, his bliss is disturbed when another imposter, Marla Singer, also begins attending the same support groups. The two agree to split which groups they attend.
It's a cool opening sequence. I talked about this in
it is
a little behind the scenes. I talked about this in take 1 of this episode, where it's cool to
yes.
see. Yeah, it's
way to break the fourth wall, asshole.
Being honest. So it's cool to see like how the movie sets itself up for a disaster, if that makes any sense. Where we see Edward Norton, he's tired with his job, he has insomnia, he doesn't really know what he's doing in his life because he has all these material possessions he doesn't necessarily want or need, but he gets them because everyone around them is getting him. He's fitting into like a society. As much as that sounds like a Joker quote, I'm not trying to quote the Joker. You wouldn't get it, but
There's something I did notice that's kind of weird when with between the two. So he gives her his number and during the scene when they agreed to split the days. Apparently that was the number to the dilapidated house.
Really? That's
remember
awesome.
That's
so he
weird.
Already had the dilapidated house.
Because remember, he goes because when she called him about the overdose, he goes, "How'd you get this number?"
Holy shit, dude.
And she goes, "You gave it to me."
My fucking mind. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Because I noticed that I noticed that just now. I'm like, wait a minute. He gave her the number to the dilapidated house.
So he's already planning this in his subconscious because of the insomnia. When he thinks it's getting cured, Tyler Durden is born. We're breaking these walls down for this movie already in paragraph 1. So the whole insomnia thing comes from the lack of like control in his life, and he's spiraling out of control through all this consumerism, capitalism bullshit. So he ends up seeing a doctor who tells him to that he actually doesn't have it that bad. Go see a testicular support cancer group, and that's how he gets to meet Marla and Bitch Tits and all the other guys. So that's a little more insight onto that.
His name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson. That should be the quote for this week's episode. His name is Robert Paulson.
Nah. That's like you have to be a diehard fan of Fight Club to just to like get that. If you're not like a very good fan of it, you're gonna be like, what?
Put it at the end of the episode then.
But no, if you have the gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club. That's a good opening quote for us.
Put the Paulson one at the end of the episode. So, to continue on the plot, on a flight home from a business trip, the narrator meets soap salesman Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt. The narrator returns home to find that his apartment and all of his belongings have been destroyed in an explosion. So back to to the airplane thing. While he's on the plane with and he meets Tyler, we see the Starbucks cup, and Starbucks is sprinkled throughout the entire film. Again, something from take 1. It's cool to see like just how much consumer products are in this film. Like you were talking about beer in the last take. Like they have like some Budweiser, or some Heineken or something, or some.
No, it was Bushheiser, I think it was.
Beer. Yeah. And like, I think there's a Coca-Cola ad sprinkled in through somewhere at this point too. So it's just cool to see like there's like the Starbucks cups are sprinkled throughout the entire film. It's not just in the one scene. So it's cool to see like all the consumerism products plaguing the world around us. There's even one on the train later on where he's talking about like the male gaze.
Oh yeah, about Gucci.
Yeah. And that's a cool little scene. And what I think is really good in that scene, it again ticks to the point of spoilers, they're the same people. But like, the narrator is narrating something in his head about Gucci, and then Tyler immediately responds with the answer he's looking for. And I thought that was really cool.
Well, see, that's also like an actual ad too.
What, the Gucci ad? Or yeah, I know it was a real ad.
That's so weird though. Like for the male gaze of Gucci, you just see like a man's ass on a fucking bus
Hey
stop.
man, it's like, you want this ass? Oof, by Gucci. I don't know, man, it was weird. But like,
meanwhile, Gucci is so expensive.
Ridiculous. But like, I liked how the narrator was able to narrate something and then Tyler answers it. And I don't know how many times Tyler actually answers the narrator's questions without the narrator opening his mouth, but I think it happens more than once. So that's just a cool little thing to dip up on. But we're going too far into the plot. So let's get back on track. After his house explodes, like his apartment explodes, he's the only apartment to explode in the entire complex, which is just funny. He rationalizes it as well, which is kind of cool. And he's like, "Oh, I must have left the gas lighter on, and then the fridge opens up, and the compressor blew up the." It's cool that he's rationalizing something.
Yeah, wait. Like, how is his apartment the only one affected?
Well, we know from later on that it was like a bomb. So.
Well, no, because he used like Freon, but like it was a decent explosion. It should have at least done damage to about maybe one or two other apartments that are like that are in the walls next to him.
A little bit of damage was spread, but it doesn't look like that much. Yeah. So the narrator is disheartened by the loss of all his material possessions, deciding against asking Marla for help. He actually calls Tyler, the guy he met on the plane, and they meet at a bar. Tyler says the narrator is beholden to consumerism, and then in the parking lot, he asks the narrator to hit him, and then they just start fighting. At that point, I think it's like a whole part of live life to the fullest. Like, you lost all your shit, that sucks. Punch me in the face right now. Like, it's kind of like, let's go, get your mind off of it. Let's get into some high octane action. You know, at least that's my perspective.
So as I mentioned this in the first take that we did, so like from what I've read and what I've heard, that the very first fight that they had, when Norton throws the first punch, that was it was scripted, but I think he was supposed to hit him in the shoulder, but the director said hit him in the ear, just punch him in the ear. And because the reaction we got from Brad Pitt, that was a genuine, real reaction.
I believe it.
Of him, like, you hit me in the ear.
I like some of that.
Because you could definitely tell, like, it's Brad Pitt, because like his voice goes up.
Yeah, it doesn't
and he's
sound
like what the fuck? It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I love that sort of.
And then we get the fight scene.
Wall breaking when it comes to like improvisations and breaking characters, and it actually gets kept in the script. So that's always fun.
Oh yeah, because like it's some of the best stuff that you can say. I love improv in some scripts. I love when things are like, hey, here's the layout. We kind of like we don't like the way we wrote it. We want to see how you do it. It's the best way, because when you get characters that have good chemistry, like Norton and Brad Pitt, I want to see them in a movie again together, because they definitely had good chemistry.
Like each other anymore. I think that was the whole thing. I don't think they like each other. That sucks. Anymore. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember hearing. But it's also because Edward Norton is notoriously hard to work with.
Oh yeah, because if we all know about the Hulk incident,
he wanted more money, which
shit
is
like
fair,
that.
But also he's just, again, notoriously hard to work with. He kept like fucking with the Hulk scripts, and he
also
like,
wanted to
co-direct and everything. And they actually play into that in the Birdman movie, where Edward Norton is just an asshole the whole time to every character. That's supposed to be like a characterization of himself, which is cool.
Okay, now jumping back into this plot. The narrator moves into Tyler's large, dilapidated house in an industrial area. They have further fights outside the bar, which attract growing crowds of men. The fights move to the bar's basement, where the men from Fight Club, which routinely meet for the men to fight recreationally. Legit, like, I'm sorry, but like, why does men like appear so much in that
it's the whole toxic masculinity thing. It's men do this. Men need to blow off steam. Men. This is all about men. We're so manly when we fight each other. Women wouldn't get it.
Yeah, but isn't Fight Club 2 about like a female
in the comic
getting
book?
into it?
I think so, but it also still deals with Marla and the narrator's relationship. In the comic, they actually have a baby, and the narrator is afraid that it's quote unquote Tyler's baby because it has blonde hair, but that's just a projection. So it gets really fucking crazy. Tyler actually comes back in the comics. It's so cool. You gotta read the book. I'll probably lend it to you, or I'll send you one of the digital ones.
Well, no, I'm gonna get the first book on Audible. Also, please sponsor us.
The comic?
The legit book first. I want to read that first, and then dive into the comics.
Hold on. Continue on with the plot.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. I'll read the next paragraph for this. Marla overdoses on pills and telephones the narrator. This is where I brought up that he gave her the phone number to the dilapidated house. It's very weird because he goes like, "How'd you get the number?" He goes, "Well, when we met, you gave it to me." So yeah, it definitely breaks further down that he's been planning this type of thing since the very beginning. The narrator, she telephones the narrator for help. He ignores her, but Tyler goes to her apartment to save her. Tyler and Mara begin a sexual relationship, much to the narrator's irritation. Tyler warns the narrator never talk to Marla about him.
Which I think is a cool little thing.
The narrator.
Like it's like, hey, whatever you do, me and Marla are dating, but don't talk to her about me at all. I want to stay in enigma, and that's like a thing it keeps you guessing onto like what's going on with Tyler's background and how he actually doesn't really have one.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Also, I completely forgot. So when we first met Tyler, I want to bring it back to the airport real quick. Tyler steals a car. Remember that he hops into a red Corvette, I think,
dangerously,
and just steals it.
Edward Norton, hey, this is what you want to be.
But now, does that mean that? But now, since so Edward Norton's character didn't see that. Did Edward Norton steal that car though?
That unless Edward Norton already bought that car, and it actually wasn't stolen. Weird.
Well, no, because there was someone that comes up and goes, "Hey, my car."
Yeah, I think Edward Norton stole it. I mean, I think the narrator stole the car for sure. Because again, we know they're the same person. It's a mental projection.
Yeah.
Unless the car.
It's mainly him having an outer body experience.
So maybe
each time.
Edward Norton was just visualizing that Tyler would steal a car.
It could be, but like, remember he didn't see him leave the place.
Yes, but this is like the whole.
So now it's him. It's him envisioning it. It's him envisioning it, but why would we see it if he's not seeing it?
Because at the beginning of the movie, they don't want to tell you they're the same person.
This is true.
It's movie magic.
All right, so now finishing up the last sentence of the plot, the narrator blackmails his boss for his company's assets support Fight Club, and quits his job. Was this this was the scene where Edward Norton kicks his own ass, pretty much.
This is the scene where you mean in the office building.
In the office.
Edit that out.
He kicks the shit out of himself.
In the office, he starts beating the shit out of himself, and then he's like, "Oh, you're hurting me!" And it's supposed to like drum up like, "Oh shit, the boss is beating him up because he's a bad worker," and that's like not good in HR. So that's the blackmail. And then he's like, "You know what? Come settle this in Fight Club." So then the boss comes down, and they just kick the shit out of each other in Fight Club. And then he ends up, I think he ends up winning. Not the boss, Tyler/Edward Norton. I think they end up winning.
Did they fight in Fight Club?
I think the boss, because there's a scene where Tyler is fighting this businessman, and I thought that it was the boss, but again, I watched it a week ago. I don't really know 100% where all the side characters are.
I don't think it was. If it was, then hey, I'm wrong. I'll definitely do my research after this and look and watch the scenes, but I don't think they fought. I'm not 100% on that one.
Anyway, continuing on with the plot. So, soon, fight clubs begin to form all across the country. new members begin to join in mass, including Robert Bob Paulson. His name is Robert Paulson. A man with testicular cancer.
Bitch tits.
A man with testicular
Meatloaf.
cancer who the narrator had previously met in a support group. So this is where we start seeing Fight Club becoming more of a cult rather than just dudes hanging out. Just dudes being dudes. Yeah, because like we see that young kid who's like no older than like what you said in the first take, like no older than us, maybe 28, maybe, you know. Like you have to wait outside for 3 days.
I'm surprised the plot doesn't mention.
And then you said on the last day before he's about to let the young kid in, Paulson's there and Paulson's about to leave, and then Edward Norton goes, "No, you're good. You got this. Just survive. I believe in you. Fight Club's good. Let's go."
I'm surprised that in the plot that they don't mention that at the bar that they fight in is owned by the mafia.
Is it?
Yeah, remember, because you get at the end of it, like in the middle, you get like the guy comes down and is like, "What the fuck is this?" He goes like, "Oh, so and so let us do this." He goes like, "Well, that guy doesn't own the bar. I own the bar. I'm Lou. Who the fuck are you?"
I don't remember that.
And then him and Brad Pitt.
Oh, that's the guy I'm mistaking for the business guy. That's the one I'm mistaking for the boss, because he was also a bougie older dude, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's what I'm thinking of." So yeah, he fights.
I'm Lou. Who the fuck
are you? So they fight to continue to fight in the basement of that Fight Club, and I think Tyler does win. I think. Don't quote me.
Yes, Tyler wins because he slobbers blood all in that guy's face. He goes like, "Please give us the room, Lou. Please, this is all we have. Please, Lou."
With, oh man, you got to start sprinkling in clips, man. The YouTube show is going to be lit.
Also, I don't want us to get copyrighted. That's why. If anything, I'll try to sprinkle in clips. Like I'll try to. I'll do some stuff. I have to.
Clip is the opener. Please.
Okay.
That's my one. That's my one.
Lou,
that's please let us use the room.
Please, Lou.
So good.
Give me your word. On my mother's grave.
All right, so Tyler begins recruiting.
Since I read 2 paragraphs,
I'm still going in.
I'm letting you know.
So Tyler begins recruiting their members to a new anti-materialist and anti-corporate organization, which is titled Project Mayhem, without the narrator's involvement. They basically say, "Hey, don't tell the nerd over there what we're doing." And in everyone else's brain, he's like, "Is he talking about himself?" But again,
don't tell the putz, man.
Hey, don't talk about our putz over there.
Don't talk to the putz over there. He don't know.
The group engages in subversive acts of vandalism and violence, increasingly troubling the narrator. Because like they take down, they blow up like an art installation, like something near a fountain, and it rolls into a coffee shop, which I think is Starbucks, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was not Starbucks. It was some like generic brand just for the movie. Like, I think they probably blew most of their budget on the sponsors.
And then they also start
you forgot to mention. You this actually was before they threw the ball into the coffee shop. This was when they did the spray paint of the happy face and the fire in the windows.
And they also do the fucking with the magnetic strips on all the VHS tapes, right?
I was so confused with that. I
think they were testing the magnets for the credit cards later on or some shit. I don't know. Or for the server room. I don't know. It was weird. It was just a weird thing. They were just doing... They were getting rid of the whole anti-materialistic, anti-corporate bullshit. So, yeah. After the narrator complained...
It's all you youngins out there. It's all the youngins out there. They were in a Blockbuster doing that.
The last Blockbuster video is going to be an Airbnb for like a month or two until it closes officially. Like, you can stay in a Blockbuster video.
Yeah, but no, it's only for the residents of that area.
It's for the people who've been going there for years and years and years. I think it's. I
respect it.
Somewhere around here.
No, it's in Portland.
I guess, right?
Well, no, it's like it's also like $4 a night. Really I think
cheap. It's as much to. It's supposed to be like a little nod to. It costs $4 a night to rent a movie. $4 an extra to stay there, and they're only allowing 3 families to stay there at a time. So,
which is like it's still really cool though. Like, I would love to do that, but again, we live out here in New York. We're on the East Coast. That's the West Coast. So there's not much we can do.
Is Portland really far to the West Coast? I thought it was like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's talk while I look.
So I'm gonna continue on with the plot. So after the narrator complains that Tyler has excluded him, Tyler reveals that he was the one who caused the explosion at the narrator's condo, and then he leaves the dilapidated Fight Club house. So this is what we were harking back to when we were talking about, when we were like, oh, we'll talk about it later. The whole rationalization of Edward Norton saying, oh, this is how it blew up, was actually him, I think, going, this is how I blew up my house as Tyler. At least that's what I can think. Because I don't think Tyler plants a bomb in there. I just think he says, I blew up your house. I was the one who did it. Because that's the subconscious mind. When he rationalizes the fact that the house is blown up and this could be the reason, I think that is how he made Tyler do it. How's that sound? Is that making any sense to you, Zach?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I'm just looking up Bend, Oregon, because that's where it is. It's on... let's see, directions. That, oh my god, yep, that's all the way that's on the West Coast. That is a 42-hour drive.
All right, Zach, we're taking a trip.
That is going across. That's... That it's also like a 13-hour flight, apparently.
Flights that are cross country are a long time, dude. To get to Australia, I think it's like 26 hours.
Yeah, so...
it's between 16 to 26.
How long will it take to walk there? 920 hours to walk.
That's like fucking a month or so.
You won't get there until next year.
All right.
It'll be gone by then. It'll be gone by the time you get there.
Walking trip. Woo, woo, woo. All right, Zach, continue on.
You about to have a recreation.
Plot, Chief. When Paulson.
When Paulson is killed by the police during a botched sabotage operation, the narrator tries to halt the project. He follows a paper trail to the city Tyler has visited. In one city, a Project Mayhem member addresses the narrator as Mr. Durden. Confused, the narrator calls Marla and discovers that she also believes he is Tyler. Tyler appears...
This is the first, like, big scene in the bar where it's revealed, like, oh shit, people are calling him Mr. Durden. What's going on here? This is like the first little... And I know it comes in really quick.
Oh, like, they were calling him Sir.
What?
They were calling him Sir for a lot of it.
But in my brain, since Durden is the head honcho and the narrator also started it, they would also call him Sir. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when they called him Mr. Durden, when I watched it originally years ago, I was like, what? And my dad was sitting there. He's like, I've already seen the movie, so I know. And he was like laughing. And I was like, what do you mean? And then we get to Marla. And it's like, what are you talking about, Tyler? And I'm like, oh, shit. What's happening? And then we see Tyler pop up. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
They've been fucking. And then we start seeing flashbacks of him doing stuff.
Really?
No.
There's a scene where the narrator's in jail.
Do you remember a scene?
I remember a scene where one of the two of them are in jail.
He was never in jail.
Because there's like a line behind him. Whatever.
I do not remember this.
It's really cool to see that. So
there's a Mandela effect happening right here, folks. Are you remembering a better part of the movie that we never have to see?
Going back to what you were just about to say, Tyler appears in the room and reveals to him they're disassociated personalities inside the same body. And that's something that we slowly start to see throughout the film, even before the reveals. Because there are people who've gone frame by frame for this movie. Because if you're just sitting there watching the film, every once in a while, you'll see a blink of something. And you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, just a small one-frame blink. And you just pass it off as like, oh, it's just like the narrator going slowly crazy. And you're like, he's just seeing stuff. But then if you actually pause those frames, it's Brad Pitt laying on a table. It's Brad Pitt sitting in a chair. It's Brad Pitt next to him. Like, it's just small little tidbits of Brad Pitt extra, like little bits. And then that's when we slowly start to see the the narrator remembering that Tyler was always there, or they were the same person.
It's like I still love like the breakdown, because you see like when he starts to remember stuff, you see now him like he remembers having sex with Marla. He remembers threatening the police officer, saying, "We'll cut your balls off, so don't fuck with us." It's so like I love the breakdown. I love the attention to details, because even before seeing like the small pop-ups of Brad Pitt, like when no, so when he calls Tyler from the payphone, and when Brad Pitt answers, he goes, "Who is this?" And then Edward Norton goes, "Tyler." That's a fun, like that's a very interesting, like if you don't pay attention, you'll miss it. Well, no, because he goes like, "Who is this?" And then Edward Norton goes, "Tyler,"
as Tyler, like subconsciously. So Edward Norton calls up, the house, and we see Brad Pitt pick it up, but the mental projection is just, even though they're obviously not, he's not able to mentally project so far away. He's not a superhero, but like someone obviously picks up the phone and doesn't recognize who's on the phone. So when Tyler in quotes says, "Who is this?" and Edward Norton answers Tyler, it's basically him going, "Yeah, we're the same guy. I'm answering the phone. I'm telling you what to do, blah, blah, blah." At least that's what I'm picking up from this whole dissociative identity disorder thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to continue on with the last line of the plot for this paragraph?
It's yeah, why not? The narrator blacks out when he returns to the house.
The narrator assumed. That's the last sentence.
Oh yeah, the narrator assumed the personality of Tyler when he believed he was sleeping.
Was
he pretty much
cured in quotes, because when the narrator sleep, Tyler would wake up, and I thought that was pretty cool. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Yeah, it's like I like that too, because like when he falls asleep, he becomes someone else. It's like if you like a lot of things like so I was confused at first when I saw that scene when he's asleep and he wakes up and the phone's off the hook. I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened? And then it's like, oh, here are all these phone calls you just made. Oh, wait, what? I don't remember making any of these phone calls. Really cool to see, well, you did.
Tyler is actually like what Tyler in quotes is actually doing while the narrator isn't around. As in, he's sleeping because his insomnia is cured because of the crying and of the fighting and of the blowing off of the toxic masculinity. So it's just really cool to see that kind of stuff, sprinkled out throughout the movie. I know we keep saying, "Oh yeah, it's cool to see the sprinkles," but like it is honestly cool. And when you're first watching it, you don't pick up on it, because then when you hear the twist and they flash back, you're like, "Okay, cool, that makes sense." But then when you rewatch the film, knowing the twist, knowing everything, it is beyond a better film. I'm actually gonna up my rating now, just a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm keeping mine where it is. All right, folks. So
I'm back.
You guys just noticed a cut there. You can blame Hunter for that one. Hunter, what happened?
Yeah, my internet is really fucky upstairs.
Don't worry, guys.
Sometimes it's at full bar, sometimes it's at 2, sometimes it's at none. But with the power of editing, the episode is still fine.
And don't worry, we will, once COVID is fully died down, we will try to do more in-person ones so that we don't have to worry about our internet keeling over and suffering.
It'll just be really easy.
And suffering. So.
All right, so back to the
Okay, so where were we? I think we talked about our ratings. I said I was going to keep mine where it is. You upped yours. I think what because of the passion that I'm showing for it, I guess.
Because the passion of what you're doing from the passion of us just talking about the films. Because when you talk about a film, it's different from when you're sitting alone watching a film. You know? Like when I sit alone and watch a film, sometimes I check my phone or someone texts me and I answer them, or I'm doing something on the Switch or something. I'm not fully aware of 100% of every single movie I watch because I have ADHD and just a small form. So I always need to be doing something.
Yeah.
So like I'll hold the remote or I'll do something. So like when watching a film by myself, I don't dissect everything. You know what I mean? I'm not like that into film. Like I know you sometimes dissect things as you're watching it. But for me, I'm not like that into it. Every once in a while, I'll go, "Oh, that's a nice shot. Ooh, that's a really good line." Or like I'll say the line right before it happens because it's just how it works. Yeah. I'll just go, "Oh, that's what they should say," and I say it, and then it comes out.
It's like I'm the same
when
way.
When you're talking about a film with somebody, it is just so cool to see like how the hype for the movie is brought in from two different perspectives, and then it increases the volume of it.
Well, it's like I'm the same way when it comes down to like I don't have like diagnosed ADHD or ADD, but like I have a balance tone practice butterfly knife, and as I was watching the movie, I was playing with that to keep my hands occupied.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's why I like my phone's usually in my hands, or like I said, I'm playing the Switch. But when you talk about a movie, it opens up more potential for like increased what the fuck moments, increased cinematography stuff. Like you said at the beginning, I said you blew my mind when you told me about the phone, and how Marla calls the dilapidated house, and the narrator picks up and goes, "How did you get this number?" Because you told me that at the beginning that's actually the number for the dilapidated home, which I thought was a really cool thing, and not knowing that kind of made me go, well, that's a little weird plot
because
thing.
like.
But then, like,
there's
you know,
no other
talking
way
about it just makes the movie better.
Yeah, because there's no other way she gets that number unless there's a deleted scene that we don't see.
Exactly.
He goes like, "Oh, and my house."
I hate it when deleted scenes are actually important. Yeah. So it's really cool to see that kind of stuff. So before we get on to the final bit of the plot, is there anything you want to say, Zach?
Nothing really. I'm happy that we are. I'm gonna go off topic with me. I'm happy we are doing this. I mentioned this in our first episode. Me and Hunter at Legit have been planning this podcast for about.
It's been like a year or so.
A year, because we had the logos made and everything, because we were throwing around ideas to name the podcast. I think it was gonna be Box Office Boys, or then we're gonna like, no, let's go with Box Office Losers.
At first it was Box Office Boys, and then we're like, that's just too lame. Yeah. Then it was Box Office Bozos, and I was like, that's fun, but like, we don't need that much we don't need the alliteration. And then I was like, what if we do Box Office Losers? And you were like, that's perfect.
That works. That's better for us, because we are losers in our own rights.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. We're losers, you're losers, everyone's a loser.
So like I appreciate this. This also gives like me something to do every week, and gives me work to do besides play Mad Max on my PC. So
yeah, so like I said last week, I do a bunch of podcasts. I do the Android's Amazing Podcast, which is comic books, and then I do PlayStation podcast that actually came out 2 Tuesdays ago and comes out every Tuesday. It's called Pound That Button with my friends. And it's just cool to like have different like podcasts to do something, because like with all this COVID stuff, my drive for like my motivation has been down a lot to do anything.
How do you think I feel?
I used to write sometimes, and exactly, and no wrestling. So your wrestling podcast is suffering
I was
right
like,
now.
I'm coming back. And then the world was like, nope, dropped straight down.
Exactly. Like the month you came back, they were like, haha, no.
Because like,
but it's just cool that like having a different avenue to explore gives me something to do every week. Like you said, like we're talking about movies, we're watching movies we may have never seen, we're watching movies we love, we're watching movies that one of us has seen and the other one hasn't. It's just cool to like talk about this kind of shit. So I'm glad that we finally like just full on did it. I think you actually texted me about it. Like, hey,
yeah, I was like, fuck it.
And I was like, finally.
No, I was like, fuck it. I got nothing else to do. I'm a contributor on the sports hit list, but that just every now and then, like, it's whenever we have a wrestling topic to talk about, I'm there.
Yeah, once wrestling comes back, was it From Under the Ring's gonna come back?
Yeah.
And I might guest on that show just to cross promote some stuff.
I was trying to reboot it as like do a gaming, but I'm like, that's way too much editing. I'll fucking kill myself.
That's too much editing. Podcasts are just a little easier. Yeah. Anyway, so back on topic. If you guys could check out our podcast, that would be sick. We're gonna get back to everything. Right now, Fight Club, the final little bit of news, the final little bit of plot. It's basically like just the ending of it, and then a little bit more. So the narrator blacks out after the reveal of Tyler and him being the same person. When he returns to their dilapidated house, he uncovers Tyler's plans to erase credit card debt by destroying the buildings that holds all the records. Now, Zach, is that possible?
Nope. Well, maybe like what I think when we discussed in take one, it like in the 90s maybe, but
Yeah, like maybe if you blow up a building in because imagine the film was probably 1997 is when they were filming, and the book was in 1996, so maybe around that area. Sure, if you blew up a credit card building, all their records would be gone because now like they don't have clouds like we do. Yeah. But like, I don't know. That seems a little far fetched, Chief.
Yeah, I was like,
but then again, it was. I think it was also every credit card company all across America because he set up a bunch of Project Mayhems, a bunch of Fight Clubs.
Fight Club did 9/11.
No, we can't say that. There are no credit card debts over there. Probably. I don't know. Let's not talk about it. Fight Club didn't predict anything. Anyway, so he apologizes to Marla and warns her that she is in danger, but she is tired of his contradictory behavior and refuses to listen. I think the narrator calls Marla from the house, and Marla's like, okay, what the fuck do you want now? Because, we have the multiple personalities where, the narrator doesn't really like Marla, but Tyler's in love with Marla. And then
he calls her from the hotel room.
With both of that. The hotel room, okay, I thought it was the other one. Then the narrator tries to warn the police, but the officers are members of the project and threaten to cut off his balls. Because this whole movie's about dicks and balls, everybody. Toxic masculinity.
Well, no. Remember, the thing was, the cop says, so Mr. Durden said, I like how everyone's referring to him as Tyler Durden now. No one's calling him sir. Everyone now just calls him Tyler Durden. So.
Well, because he came to the realization of it. Like, I feel like in his mind, he was blocking it out. The whole sir thing was them actually calling him Mr. Durden. And then once he discovers, oh shit, we're the same guy, the mental block of his name finally, leaves the area. Yeah. I think. He's like, hey, Mr. Durden, you told us no one can stop us, not even yourself, so we gotta get your balls.
Now, you said, like, if anyone, like, spills the beans on it, they lose their balls. So, you're up, buddy.
Mr. Durden.
Goes, chop.
Where were we? He attempts to disarm the explosives in one of the buildings by himself, but Tyler comes in and subdues him. With Tyler holding him at gunpoint in the top floor, the narrator realizes that as he and Tyler are the same person, he is in turn holding the gun. So the narrator decides to fire the gun into his own mouth, shooting through his cheek, which causes Tyler to collapse since he thinks he has committed suicide. As a result, the narrator ceases mental projection of Tyler. And like this is a cool scene because like we see the gun go off in his mouth and like the blue flash in his mouth is such a cool slow motion. It's just such a nice little CG scene in a mostly like practical movie.
I also want to talk about before this when you see like the CCTV cameras of Edward Norton just like, flying around the parking lot, getting thrown downstairs. It's so interesting.
Yeah, this movie is just shot beautifully. All the cinematography is great. The deeper meaning behind this film and the book is just awesome to see, like realized as a film and like scene by scene. Like I feel like people can like get degrees just dissecting this film and book. It's just such a cool thing. Final little bit: Project Mayhem members bring in a kidnapped Marla to the building that the narrator is in. Holding hands, the narrator and Marla watch as the explosives detonate, causing buildings to collapse around them. So, in turn, the narrator did not stop Tyler from erasing all credit card debt, so it stops consumerism and capitalism, and everyone is equal again. # communism, So,
goddamn.
And then, like we were saying way before, the Fight Club 2 and 3 are comic books, and I think they might also just be sequel books in general, too. So more continues into those stories, and we can talk about them at some point. Maybe as like bonus episodes,
or maybe we make a guest appearance on your podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down to talk about Fight Club stuff. We'll keep everybody posted on those later. Yes. So Zach, any closing arguments before we get to reviews?
No, nothing. I can see that this movie is definitely like it definitely deserves its cult following that it has now. I'm surprised like it almost broke even at the box office when it got
almost
100.6 million versus their $63 million budget. But like remember, you had to also add in advertising.
Yeah, you gotta add the marketing.
Yeah, like I think they almost broke even, but not fully. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Like we did discuss at the very beginning.
Well, this is such a weird and divisive film that like not a lot of critics and like people were getting ready to go see like a let's blow up the government kind of movie, and then like also in 1999, three other Office Space movies came out. One of them being Office Space, where this guy is bored with his job and does something to stop working there or changes his whole perspective or behavior on something. And Fight Club just happens to be the one that's the most drastic.
Not again. Mm-hmm.
No, we're good. We're good. I was waiting for you to respond.
No, because you cut out. I was like, oh no.
Okay, no.
No, I can guess like Office Space. Oh, that's a good movie. That's another movie we gotta talk about.
It's another one on the list. We already have like 15 weeks of this planned, but we'll keep adding to it.
we have so much in the vault ready.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can agree. Like, yeah, it definitely did fall under the radar thanks to those movies. But like, you have to realize how like with that casting of Edward Norton,
who was a nobody at this point.
Yeah, who was a nobody, but Brad
not like
Pitt,
a real nobody, but like not a big name.
But seeing Brad Pitt like a role like his go under the carpet like that is kind of weird.
Well, it's because Brad Pitt was in a losing streak at this point. Back in one of the notes that we skipped over. Where the fuck is it? Here it is. Brad Pitt was looking for a new film after the domestic failure of his 1998 film Meet Joe Black, and the studio believed Fight Club would be more commercially successful with a major star, so they signed Brad Pitt for $17.5 million. So Brad Pitt, yes, he was a household name, but he wasn't like on a high horse as he is now. I feel like this movie drove him into more stardom because Meet Joe Black was not good for him, and the studios and them needed him to recoup some of that and recoup some Fox money. So that was another reason why Brad Pitt was a good choice, at least for me.
Hey, I see that we don't have an old movie picked out for our 13th week.
Don't look at that.
Do you want that to be do you want that to be Office Space?
Put that down if you want. We got to get back on topic. We keep detaching. Zack,
I'm sorry, but I saw that you added.
I added a bunch. Yeah. So for my films, you'll see a trend in my films. I'm doing like sequential stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
mine's just all willy nilly.
Well, that's good. I'm only doing sequential stuff because there's Cobra Kai's coming out and Bill and Ted Face the Music's coming out, so future stuff for later. But it's just cool to see. So, Zach, final reviews. Where are we going?
I'm giving this 8.5 bitch tits out of 10. This movie, like it holds up today. It's not like an amazing perfect movie. It's a good movie, and it deserves to be with an 8.5 rating.
That's solid. Originally, I had this film at a 7 out of 10 because I was like, it's really good. It's just fine. But then I was like, you know what? It's actually 8 bars of liposuction fat soap out of 10. It's an 8. It's honestly an 8 out of 10 film. Like you can't go past it's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's fucking awesome. But I can't justify giving it more than an 8, so that's why the 7 got moved up. But talking about it with you made me love it a little bit more, just because of all the special little details that I didn't really know about at first. So it's cool to add perspective and stuff to movies. So Zach, close us out unless you have anything else to say, because we're still new to this.
No, that's really it. Thank you all for listening, guys. You can follow us on Instagram at Box Office Losers, on Twitter at Box Losers. We're still trying to work on that. We'll might just keep it at this point. To keep up to date with us from either if there's any scheduling dates that we have to fix or whatever. But other than that, though, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends. We are the Box Office Losers.
Thank you very much. See you guys next week.
Is Robert Paulson.
Come on, guys,
His
please
name
stop it.
is Robert Paulson. His name is Robert Paulson.